Wow, this thing is big. Oh wait, we're rolling? Oh, now the F-150 is a really capable truck. However, what if you need something that has more towing and hauling abilities? Well, that's what this thing behind me is for. This is a 2013 F-350 Super Duty. Now, known by truck buyers as the 3/4 and 1 ton trucks within the F-150 lineup, it just offers the power and size that an F-150 simply cannot match. Now, with only 3 American manufacturers to choose from if you're looking for a heavy-duty truck, the F-Series remains a bestseller. So let's take a look at why that is. Now, at an initial first glance, this thing really is massive. Now, compared to the other 2 American Super Duty trucks, the Ram HD and the Silverado HD, the Super Duty is actually bigger than both of those trucks. It's actually pretty simplified in the way it's built over an F-150. There's actually only 5 different trims that you can choose from. There's the base XL. From the XL, you can move up to the XLT, the Lariat, which is what I have here, and then the King Ranch, and then new for 2013 is a Platinum trim level. Now, in terms of the cab configurations, the Super Duty is available in 3 cabs. There's the regular cab, the Super Cab, and the Crew Cab. From there, you can choose either between a standard 6 3/4 foot long bed or the 8-foot bed. If you want a Crew Cab and an 8-foot bed, the Super Duty is the only way you can get it. An F-150 Crew Cab is not available with the 8-foot bed. This one you can see has the 158-inch wheelbase, so it is the 8-foot bed with the Super Cab configuration. This one also happens to be an F-350 dually. There's 3 different ways you can build the Super Duty for a civilian. There's the F-250, which is the smallest, the F-350, which is the middle one, which is this one, and then the F-450, which only comes as a dually with the standard diesel engine. There's 2 different powertrains available. There's the 6.2-liter gas V8, which is essentially the top engine in the F-150, and then the 6.7 Power Stroke, which is surprisingly an $8,000 option. In terms of how this one's equipped, this is pretty much the most the one that you buy to tow the most. This one's an F-350 Super Cab, 8-foot bed. It tows about 18,500 pounds. Max tow is about 23.7 with the 5th wheel. Payload capacity is at just under 8,000 pounds as well. Coming to the window sticker of this truck, these things are not cheap. You can see it's got an MSRP of about $59,265. The diesel engine itself costs about $8,000. And fuel economy is not required to be rated on this vehicle. It surpasses a certain weight limit, so the EPA doesn't require Ford to actually give the fuel economy numbers for this vehicle. Expect roughly, low teens in the city, maybe, high teens in the highway, maybe even closer to 20. Ford says their 6.7 Ford-built engine is one of the most fuel efficient in the class. You can see in terms of the styling in the front, this thing is just imposing. You have this big equal sign of a grille. This one has the chrome package, which I don't really like, but I mean, this truck, it really suits it in terms of, the looks, the style of it. The dual rear wheels are pretty cool, and the F-350 is the way you have to get it. A 250 is not available with those dual rear wheels. Now, looking at the interior of the Super Duty, you can see it's got a very high step-in. The chrome package, which is about $1,500, includes these chrome running boards, which you really need to get into this vehicle. Now, stepping in, I'm really glad there's a grab handle right here to assist you in getting in. Here's the key for the vehicle. It's Ford's, older key. There's no smart access system available. You can see there's the new My Ford Touch. This is new for 2013. Now, to start the vehicle, like I said, no push-button start. That information display in the center is actually available on XLT, standard on Lariat, Platinum, and King Ranch models. And you can hear for a diesel engine, it actually starts up pretty quickly, and it's also very quiet. Now, shutting the door, you have automatic up-down windows for the driver and the front passenger. You can see here in terms of the interior, it's been updated for 2013, like I said. Now, what's interesting is the Super Duty nameplate is actually only in its 3rd generation. Ford introduced this nameplate in 1999. You can see here this big 8-inch My Ford Touch display. It actually is a pretty easy reach. My arms aren't really that long, but you can reach all 4 quadrants pretty easily. And thankfully, Ford has decided to
on your device and select sync once it is found.
Ford has decided to leave, hard buttons here. You have these pretty big knobs for tuning your climate control. Somewhat smaller buttons here. I imagine truck buyers who are wearing, gloves will probably have trouble, hitting the right button. You have your trailer brake controller here, some auxiliary switches for lighting and towing. In terms of the materials, it's all hard plastic. I mean, even though this is a $60,000 truck, this This is new actually for 2013, this little storage bin. You can see your USB, your sync, everything, your navigation card is all in here. This is actually a pretty nice storage area. You can put your iPod in there, your phone. Like I said, the materials, hard plastic materials. A decent grading material, but I'm kind of disappointed they didn't at least put some, you know, softer touch materials. But this is a truck, this is a work truck. However, the lariat trims are kind of supposed to be like all-around luxury trucks as well. You can see kind of a flimsy airbag cover here, but you do have this nice, you know, convincing looking wood grain trim, some power outlets right here, your four-wheel drive switch. You have more cup holders down here, very large cup holders, even more cup holders right here. Your center console here has a relatively small storage area. This one doesn't have the two captain's chairs. This has the bench, but it's leather padded right here. Coming to the steering wheel, this is hard plastic right here, or the door panels, I'm sorry, this is hard plastic. It is slightly padded right here. If you get the King Ranch and Platinums, they will stitch this in leather. You can see a very interesting door handle design. That's the way you open the door. The mirrors do fold or extend out. They're the tow mirrors, and you can also fold them electrically. Definitely necessary for this wide of a vehicle, and let me tell you, this is one really wide vehicle. Looking at the steering wheel, it actually tilts and telescopes. That is new for this third generation, I believe. You can see it doesn't have much of a bolstering extension, but you do get nice leather wrapped. You have your sync and your volume controls on the steering wheel. This one also has the column shifter as well. Now this is the super cab configuration. If you need more space, you got to go for the crew cab. In terms of the space back here, it's not very comfortable. I want to say the F-150 actually gives you a little bit more space in that regard. The windows back here actually don't roll down. They just have a little clip here that you can just open them like that. The seat themselves, they're very upright. Kind of this like, it is this headrest looks really cheap, but it actually is padded. The seats do fold up if you need to, you know, put something here, but there's not really much in terms of storage. If you need more space, you've got to go for the crew cab configuration. Now looking at the bed of the Super Duty, like I said, this one's the 8-foot bed, and a lot of truck buyers, especially who are work in the field, actually want this configuration. There's no bed liner in this one. I would recommend a drop-in or a spray-in bed liner. You can see this one doesn't have the optional tailgate step. I highly would recommend that. As you can see, the load floor is pretty high up. It comes up to slightly above my waist, but I'm short. In terms of, you know, the bed itself, it's a pretty good size, and this tailgate is not damped or anything like that. And then when you finally come under this freaking huge hood, which is probably one of the highest hoods that I ever had to raise, you have Ford's new 6.7-liter turbo diesel V8 engine. This is their Ford-sourced engine. They build it now. Same with the 6-speed automatic. Here are the numbers: 400 horsepower and 800 foot-pounds of torque. Enough to give it a maximum towing capacity of 24,700 pounds with the fifth wheel, or 18,500 with conventional. Paired with the 6-speed automatic, this truck is actually surprisingly peppy. And fuel economy numbers, like I said, are unknown, but expect to get, you know, mid to low teens around most of your driving. Right, so if you guys are actually one of the few people who need a truck like this, let's take a look at how the 13 model drives. Now, like I said, compared to Ford's diesel engines of the past, this thing just starts up really quietly and quickly. Now, let me tell you, if you guys are really bad at driving big vehicles, this is not for you. If you can drive an F-150, you should be able to drive this car. If you can't drive an F-150, don't even bother. You're gonna literally hit something every time you're trying to, you know, just move the vehicle around. In terms of, you know, the view, it gives you a really good commanding view of the road. I mean, you can see just how wide this vehicle is. I'm extremely far away from the camera. You have to see over the hood, so shorter drivers would not recommend this truck. And, you know, literally every time you make a turn, you have to just be careful you're not going to clip something when you're turning. Now, surprisingly, for a diesel engine, it revs up pretty fast, and you can see the back end can get a little tail happy if you hit that gas. Typical of a diesel, it also has a lot of torque. I mean, 800 pound-feet of torque is just unbelievable. This vehicle has the most torque out of any vehicle I've ever driven, you know, in terms of numbers. Now, like I said, the diesel engine is very quiet. You barely hear it, which I like, but traditional truck buyers may not like it. They may like a Cummins turbo diesel i6 because it just has a louder, more present diesel name in terms of it. Now, in terms of, driving the vehicle down the road, it's got an independent front suspension, which helps with the ride quality, but it's definitely a lot more jittery compared to an F-150. You definitely need to put some crap in the back to settle the ride. I mean, it's got a live axle in the back, but this vehicle was just designed to carry loads. I mean, it's got a freaking 7,300 pound payload capacity. Now, to help you drive, there are these very large mirrors which do show your blind spot well. There's no blind spot information available, which I kind of think a truck like this should have. Thankfully, the Lariat trim comes standard with a backup camera. You got to go for a Lariat and up to get standard backup camera, which is necessary for this type of vehicle. Now, in terms of everyday normal acceleration, you really don't need to rev this engine past 2,500. It makes the meat of its power band right at 2,000 RPM, and it has pretty good pull. I mean, even with its impressive numbers at 400 horsepower, you definitely feel this truck's weight. The other two, heavy-duty trucks are much smaller than this, and I think I might actually prefer the nimbleness that those two trucks offers. But I mean, if you are looking for the most towing, the most size, the most power numbers, this is definitely where you need to be. The seats in this truck are also very nice. They're very comfortable. You could easily take this thing, on a long trip, no problems, and it'd be pretty comfortable. Now, this is a huge truck, so U-turns in this thing need to be done with caution. It's got a huge turning circle, but surprisingly, the power is right there once you get on the throttle, and this thing actually is able to mask its size pretty well when you're accelerating. So anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed my quick overview of this, brand new 2013 Super Duty. If you're in the market for a heavy duty truck like this, please actually use it for its intended function. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. I will catch you all later.